In this video, I am going to expose other Airbnb gurus because I don't think it's fair to you that everybody gives you misinformation and tells you to do things that I believe are not accurate in the Airbnb game. My name is Investor Mike. I'm the #1 Airbnb educator in the United States right now. I'm going to give you all real stuff and no fluff so that you can make educated decisions on how to get into Airbnb and make sure you do it effectively. So guys, listen here. Most of the people out there are telling you to start with apartments, okay? I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna help you do something a little bit different. And the way that I do it and the way that my students do it are actually working. Here's the thing about starting with apartments. An apartment is a business. If you start with a single family house, you're starting with a person. For example, if we're gonna do a pitch, would you rather pitch John, who owns 123 Lala Street, or would you rather pitch an apartment complex, Seabreeze Apartments, that's got 200 units in there? The reason you don't want to go with the 200 units is because, think about this, it's a business. It's got to go through multiple layers. They're going to require tax returns. They're going to require bank statements. They're going to require business credit. You think John, who owns a property, is really going to check all that? Probably not. So I teach my students, and you, and that's why you come here, for free information so you can get better, to go with a single family property first, or a townhouse. Just stay away from apartments and condo associations, and you'll be in much better shape and get property much faster. Here's another thing I'm going to expose. I'm going to expose the cost. I think a lot of gurus out there are teaching that you need to be somewhere, and if you Google it, it's absolutely right. They're teaching anywhere between probably $5,000 to $10,000. Okay, you got to think about your first month rent. You got to think about the security deposit. You got to think about furnishing the property. You got to think about your software. You got your legal contracts. And that ends up being somewhere around $7,000 to $8,000 to get into rental arbitrage. And that's without a coach. That's flying without a net. Okay, you're essentially on your own. The difference of what I do is I help you take and mitigate the risk of all that money on the front end so you can get into Airbnb arbitrage with a much lower upfront cost. The way I do it is I can help you find the right furnished property. You'll never pay your first month of rent. You'll never have to pay for software, and you have the #1 coach helping you. You decide which one makes more sense for you. Because I'm gonna tell you something, my students are crushing it for a reason. Number 3, and this is where I'm gonna expose a lot of people. A lot of these programs just put you in the course. You know how many people contact me from other companies and say, hey, listen, I'm not going to talk bad about their program. It's a good program. It's just a lot of coursework. And, we can show up to Zoom, twice a week. It's just the how, but they're not showing you what to do. It's just, here's what you guys need to do, but they're not giving you the hands-on. The difference of what I do is a very hands-on approach. Meaning, when I started back in 2016, I didn't know anything about Airbnb. I literally didn't know so much that I actually got an apartment, which is how I found out. You don't go with apartments first. Because 4 months later, after I started back in 2016, I got a knock on the door from Karen in the HOA department, said, we're not doing Airbnbs here, Mike. I said, you're kidding me. My whole business, dreams, aspirations were shut down at that moment. Now, did I crush it and go out and say, you know what, failure is not an option? Absolutely. And then 7 years later, became the #1 coach. And now we're going to get 5 units at a time through corporate leasing. But the reality is this. These programs are just courses and, videos, but they're not giving you what I'm going to give you, which is a very hand-holding approach, keeping you accountable, texting you multiple times per day, making sure you're doing the right things in order, step by step by step. And that's how you're going to learn, because I understand that accountability is the #1 reason people fail at their goals, which is why when New Year's resolution comes around, you guys start on January 1st. I want to lose weight. I want to make more money. I want to stop smoking. I want to stop doing drugs, whatever. 28 days later or less, you fail. And you fell off the wagon. Why? Because there's nobody holding you accountable to the goal. My job, to hold you accountable, multiple messages a day, showing you step by step what you need to do each and every way, so that way you go, okay, cool. Now I finished this. What's my next step, Mike? That's the big difference. The big difference is that I care about people. I want you to win. I want you to win just as much as you want to win. And I can't tell you that other programs are going to feel the same. Okay? I have built up a portfolio and an empire. Now I have the time to give back, to share with you guys everything that I've learned step by step, and actually give you my full attention. And there's not a lot of people that can say that. I'm going to expose this one as well. Austin, a student of mine today, was with another program for 14 months. Him and his wife paid $9,800. I'm not going to tell you what program or company it is, but here's the reality. He started 14 months in a program. I asked him how many properties he had. He said, Mike, I got 0. He contacts me on TikTok and says, Mike, I need help. I thought, no worries. I'll get on the phone and figure out how many properties you got. Maybe you're trying to increase occupancy on your 8, 9 properties. He says, I got 0. I said, Austin, you got 0 properties? Here's the difference. They didn't care about him. He was just another number. So I told him, I said, listen, I told my team, let's get with Austin right now. Let's help him find the right property in the right area, make sure it's a profitable property, and get him a deal. He's been waiting 14 months after him and his wife have paid $10K almost, $9,800 to get into a program. And guess what I do? 2 days later, I get him into my program, and he signs his first lease in under 2 days. Now, how's that possible? Because they were saying, here's what you need to do, but they're not showing them how to actually do it. I'm going to expose these other companies. If you've gotten a lot of value at this point, do me a favor. Push the like button. Subscribe to the channel because I'm the one to come to you every single day, guys, to make sure that you're doing the right thing in order and all real stuff. One thing you'll learn about me is I don't BS people. I transparently tell you the way it is, and that's what people like. And if you don't like it, I'm not a good person. But I'm going to hold you accountable to make sure every step of the way you're not wondering, where do I go? What's my next step? Just aimlessly, like these other programs, put you into the course. You have no clue what you're doing. The reality is this. You're here because you want to get an Airbnb. And you're not here because you want to look at a good-looking guy on a Tuesday. You are here because you want to get your first rental Airbnb. Or maybe house hack. You own a property, you live in it, you want to rent out rooms. Or maybe you want to learn co-hosting. But the main thing right now that I'm teaching, I know all the method, even corporate leasing. Once you get it more advanced, we can start doing apartments and get 5 units at a time. The main thing right now that's hitting, which is a hot trending market, it's called rental arbitrage, which is a fancy way of saying this. We're not going to go to apartments. We're going to go to a single family house that is for rent. We're not buying it. We're going to rent the property. We're going to put it on Airbnb with the landlord's permission, and we're going to start generating income immediately. Now, you could fail. And I'm going to tell you, Austin's results are not typical based on education, background, XYZ. But what I will tell you is that my blueprint teaches you how to get your first property in 30 days or less. And then every 45 days later from there, I'm going to show you how to get your next property. The idea is that every 45 days, you're going to look for a next rental. Guys, these are just rental properties, okay? We're not going to the bank. We're not dealing with loans. We don't have to deal with our credit score. So I don't care if you've got a bad credit score. I don't care if you don't have any Airbnb experience. I don't care if you don't have any entrepreneur experience. I don't care if you're working at 9 to 5. I don't care if you're self-employed. I don't care if you have business credit. I don't even care if you have an LLC right now. I can help you. I've solved the 2 biggest problems in the Airbnb industry, which is property market research and getting a landlord to basically eat out of your hand to work with you. And this is what I've been very successful with. So, guys, you got to get off the sideline. You're watching everybody else build empires with Airbnbs while you're sitting back going, I just want to analyze. I just want to think. Stop thinking, right? Successful people get in the game. They don't sit on the sidelines to watch everybody else. I'm here to help you if you want my help. Or you can be part of the 90+% of people that actually fail in the first year in Airbnb. It's a terrible statistic, and I'm telling you this because I love you guys and I want you to win, but the reality is this. Most people fail. What I do is I help you mitigate those risks of you failing, taking the wrong property in the wrong market, and then coming out of pocket in a landlord. Whereas if you knew up front, based on paid software, the real paid software, I can tell you what this property should do approximately per month. So you know if the rent's $2,000, I have the data to say this property should generate around an average of $4,000 a month. The difference, minus your utilities and expenses, which is very low, would be the profit. If you do this wrong, you're coming out of pocket every month. You do it right, the first property, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have momentum, you're going to be crushing it, and you're going to tell me, Mike, I'm ready for my next one. 45 days later, we're cranking out another one. Guys, take a second, subscribe to the channel. Every single day I'm coming to make sure you're winning in the game. If you need my help at all, put the word Airbnb in comments and I'll reach out to you directly. But this is me exposing other gurus who are telling you one thing, and in my opinion, it's inaccurate. I'll see you guys on the inside. Message me Airbnb in the comments, subscribe, like, and I'll hit you up directly. Let's roll.